Okay, so let's get into that comment and what that meant, because a lot of people, after he said it, I looked at well, I listened to a lot of people anyway on YouTube, but I heard a lot of people say were so upset and were saying how he insulted black women and how it was so terrible and all this kind of stuff and all this kind of stuff. But see, that's the very reaction that he and the Republicans want us to have, or want Jasmine Crockett's supporters to have. Why is that? Because while people took it personally, especially black women and especially black people, because, the insults just keep coming, the racial insults just keep coming. And so naturally, black people, especially black women, even having come off what we just came off with Kamala Harris, would take that as a personal affront. But let me tell you, it was not meant to be a personal assault against Jasmine Crockett. And I'm going to say it again, not that I'm taking up J.D. Vance, but I'm just going to tell you how Republicans work and how their strategy go. This was not intended to be as ugly as it was, as insulting as it was, as racial and ugly as it was. It was not intended to be taken as a personal insult, although he knew that it would be taken that way by black people, especially by black women, but it wasn't meant for that. It is a dyed in the wool, and when we get through tonight, you're going to be able to look back and say, you know what, that woman knows what she was talking about. It is a dyed in the wool, old playbook Republican strategy designed to what? To delegitimize. To delegitimize the person. And in this case, he meant it to delegitimize Jasmine Crockett, but not delegitimize her to the general public, or not delegitimize her to Democrats, and certainly not to delegitimize her to Republicans. It was meant to delegitimize her inside her own coalition. Hello, somebody. Did y'all just hear me what I said? While people are running with the insult, and while people are running, oh, it was racist, oh, it was this, oh, it was that, that's what the Republicans want you to do. That's what they want you to do. What it is meant to do and what it is targeted as is psychological. This is political, psychological warfare, and nobody is better at doing it than the Republicans. Why J.D. Vance said that, and even to the people where he said it was at Turning Point USA, and you heard them clapping, yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but the message was to her coalition. It wasn't to Democrats. It wasn't to them. It was a message, and Congresswoman Crockett, as Congresswoman, as I said before, excuse me, Congresswoman Crockett is my representative, or she was before she got, redistricted out. Tallarico was in the trenches with us, working with, against Abbott. So I have high regard and high respect for both of them. Next week, we're going to talk about Tallarico, but tonight we're talking about Jasmine Crockett and what the strategy is, because J.D. Vance let the cat out the bag when he said that one sentence. And if you pay attention to that one sentence, and if you get what I'm saying tonight, you will understand what their whole strategy is. Overall, is to delegitimize her inside her coalition. And why is that? Because when you delegitimize somebody inside of their coalition, their credibility cracks. And once their credibility cracks, turnout cracks. And see, that's what this race is going to be about. It's going to be about turnout. You've heard Congresswoman Crockett say it. Even you've heard Greg Abbott say it. I said it last week, and I'm going to keep saying it because he said it. Go look it up. It's in the Houston Chronicle. He has $90 million, this governor, who is evil as the day is long. And he has said he's going to use that $90 million for two things. One, to turn Harris County dark red, not red, but dark red, because Harris County is the largest for those of you who are not in Texas. Harris County is Houston. Harris County is the largest urban center in Texas. And when we look at these numbers, it's going to make sense why he said that. Two things. He's going to use that $90 million for to turn Harris County dark red, the largest urban center in Texas, the largest progressive Democrat blue center in Texas. And he's going to use it to go out after these unaffiliated voters that we're going to talk about in a minute. But let's get back to J.D. Vance, because all of this, I'm going to paint the picture for you so clearly. I hope you're going to get it tonight. By the time we're done, you're going to get where they're coming from, because it all fits together. The comment to delegitimize her inside her coalition, because delegitimization is a classic Republican political tactic inside their coalition. Think about it. That's what they did to Kamala Harris. That's what they did to, Sleepy Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, get all these things. And while people laugh and they're comical, they're really playing on your psyche, and it's playing on the psyche inside the coalition to crack the coalition. Why? Because when you crack the coalition, turnout cracks. So the Republicans are not trying to win Jasmine Crockett's voters. They're not going to try to do that because they know that's impossible. But what they are going to try to do is weaken her grip on her voters. I want you to hear me. They cannot do anything with her voters. They cannot take her voters. So what they're trying to do is weaken her grip on her voters. Now, who are their voters? And she said it too. Her voters are basically three categories: Black voters, women, and urban progressives. Black voters, women, urban progressives. That's the coalition. Within those three, those are the coalitions that the Republicans are working on to try to delegitimize her inside of those coalitions. Keep in mind, they know what these numbers are. We're going to get to those numbers in a minute. They know what her coalition is. They are working on her coalition, and they are working on affiliated voters, because that's how they're going to win this race. Or whoever, either Tallarico or Crockett, that's how they're going to win their primary. And when it comes down to it, between either Tallarico, and I'm still saying, as flawed as he is, when it comes down to whoever the Democrat is, whoever the Republican is, it's all going to come down to the same thing. This coalition and these numbers that we're going to talk about, these unaffiliated voters. So let's look at her Black voters and what J.D. Vance's comment was intended to do in cracking her coalition. Remember, I said he can't do anything about her voters. But what they're going to go after is her coalition and try to delegitimize her inside with her coalition. And let's look at the Black voters. And let's think about what he just said. Like I said, I hated to play what he said, but I needed to play what he said, so y'all will know exactly the quote I'm talking about, and not, apologize for being white. This one right here. And while they laughed, like I say, there's a strategy behind it. Let's start with the Black voters. Why did he say that? Because it in the minds of Black voters questions what? Her authenticity. Remember what he said? Her street girl cred is about as, fake as her nails, that street girl cred. Why do you think he used that particular phrase? Why do you think he used that? Because it was an attack to question her authenticity. Why? Because it suggests that she is a performer instead of being rooted really in Black culture. I know it sounds crazy, but it works. And I keep going back to Kamala Harris. It worked with Kamala Harris with who? With Black men. They effectively peeled off enough votes of Black men. And how did they do it? They delegitimized her to Black men. How did they do that? By pounding it into Black men's heads. And it was proven to be false, that when she was Attorney General in the state of California, that she prosecuted disproportionately and put in prison disproportionately Black men. There was a reason for that. It was to delegitimize her. And I want y'all to keep this word in mind when y'all hear these Republicans, when y'all hear these remarks, when y'all hear these things being said about Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. It is to delegitimize her inside of her coalition, and that's who they're after. See, the Democrats hadn't learned this yet. The Democrats have not learned this yet. They did not learn it with Kamala Harris. And I would say, y'all don't get. I didn't have to show them to be able to do this, But the eating the dog, and you know what Democrats would do? You know what Democrats would do? We know what Democrats would do. I'm telling you, it's a Republican for 40 years. The Democrats are going to plow ahead on what? They're going to plow ahead on policy. They're just going to keep talking about policy, and they're just going to keep talking about policy, and they're just going to keep talking about what they're going to do for the voters and all that. While the Republicans are playing a very different game. And I hate to hear people say, oh, they're playing chess and everybody's playing checkers. They ain't that smart. They are not that smart. But what they are smart enough to do, and what has worked since old man Bush, y'all remember, God, what was his name? The guy in the tank, what was his name? I can't think of his name. But anyway, when old man Bush, he really started this. That's where it really started, this delegitimization. It started way back then. And now, we see things backwards. What is it? We understand life backwards, but we live it forward. And now that God has me on the other side, and I don't regret, at all my background, because I've learned so much that I now use to teach others. And I see what I couldn't see before, but I see it so clearly that, it is so evident to me when I see it. It's like, oh man. So I'm going to use, God has given me his platform, not to play favorites, not do anything not do none of that stuff, but to explain very clearly and very succinctly what the devil is doing, the treachery, the games behind all of this, the psychology behind it. And while that little one sentence that J.D. Vance said was taken as a joke, it was very serious. It was very powerful, and it signaled exactly how they are going to come at and attack and try to take down Congresswoman Crockett. Question her authenticity. I'm still on these black voters, because we got to get to the black voters, we got to get to the urban progressives, and then we got to get to the women. But that attack suggests it was a performance and not rootedness. She's really not rooted. She's really not black. It was a performance. And all this street girl stuff and all this cred, that's why he compared her to fake nails. And we're going to get to that in a minute when we get to the women. And she's acting black, not really being black. She acting like one of y'all, but she's not really black. She's not really one of y'all. That's what he was saying. So I know this is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me even to sit here and say it, but it's true. And that kind of doubt damages quietly. And why do I say that kind of doubt damages quietly? Because it plays on people's mind. Because now they're going to start looking at her, some black voters, is what he wants them to do. Some black voters are going to go and say, yeah, she really ain't all that. She really is cosplaying. And that's what that was about. To delegitimize her to black voters, to say she's really performing and that she's really not rooted in blackness. She's just performing. Yeah. And let's look at her second category, because remember I said that they can't touch her voters, but they can crack her coalition. And if they are successful in cracking their coalition, they would be successful in cracking the turnout. And that's what this is about. The second category is women. So what was J.D. Vance and all of his glory and all of his, smartness, intelligence, what was he saying to women when he made that comment about Congresswoman Crockett? He was, he was trivializing her. He was trivializing her. The nails, the persona, the image. What does it do? It shifts attention away from her competence to her appearance. It shifts attention away from her competence to her appearance. They can't do anything about the woman being as sharp as she is intellectually. They can't do anything about her being as smart as she is, as a successful attorney that she was in Texas. They can't do anything about her way of communicating. They can't do anything about that. But what they can do, they can shift attention away from her legitimacy to her illegitimacy, and that is from her competence to her appearance. This is how women empower. And women can tell you this. I was once an elected official myself. Women who are elected officials can tell you this. Women who are teachers can tell you this. Women who lead anything can tell you this. This is how women in power are made to look unserious without debating their record. It's how women in power, women in leadership, are made to look unserious without having to debate their record. Because if he had to debate Jasmine Crockett's record on her competence, that's a non-starter. That is a non-starter from the beginning, you see. So I want y'all to understand, when you hear these things, the basic goal, and we're talking about Congresswoman Crockett, we'll get to Tallarico next week. The basic goal is to delegitimize her inside of her coalition, and this is how they're going about doing it. I just told you what it was for the Black voters, what it meant, what it means now with the women, to trivialize her, the nails, the persona, the image. It shifts attention away from her competence to her appearance, and that's what men do when it comes to smart women, sharp women, educated women, women in power. They are made to look unserious. Without what? Without having ever to debate their record. You see, they never did debate Kamala Harris on her record. They never did debate her on her law degree. They never did debate her on her education. They went after what? They went after her giggle. They went after her grin. Why? Because they can't win debating her record. They have to make her look unserious. They have to make Jasmine Crockett look unserious with women, with other women, because it is a non-starter to debate her on her competence. So, and women in power, like I say, I ain't making this up. That's what men do. And that's what women do. I mean, that's what women have to, that's what women, I don't care if you're a white woman or you're a black woman, if you're a brown woman. That's what they do, especially the Republicans, and women in power. Look how, okay. Let's take Marjorie Taylor Greene. Do you see how quickly they turn on Marjorie Taylor Greene, and now how Donald Trump is calling her Marjorie Taylor Brown, Marjorie Trader Brown? And she just, oh, I'm so shocked. And no, I'm so hurt. I don't know why she's so shocked and why she's so hurt. That's the way that's the Republicans play the game. That's how they play the game. They don't give us two shits if you're a female Democrat, if you're a female Republican. Why do you think these female Republicans have fallen in line behind these men Republicans? Because they know. They know. Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't know. She may thought, oh, she was in. No, baby, you're a female. And this is how Republican men play the game when it comes to women of competence, when it comes to women of stature, when it comes to women who they fear. Marjorie Taylor Greene was never a threat to Donald Trump until she started opening her mouth and said, no, I'm not going to go along with that. And then that's when all hell broke loose. And now she's just, oh, I just didn't know. Oh, I was so naive. Baby, that's how y'all's men play the game. How they do it. Jasmine Crockett knows this. And she ain't smart. I'm doing this for those of you I'm trying to do this so that y'all will understand and you will get it. So you will know how to support her, because you will know what they are trying to do in delegitimizing her in these very three categories: the women, the urban progressives, and the black voters, to crack this coalition. Not to go after her voters, ain't nothing they can do about that. They're not going to peel away not one voter of Jasmine Crockett's, but what they can do, like they did with Kamala Harris, with the black men, they can crack the coalition. And that is the salvo that J.D. Vance pitched What was it? The shot across the bow? That was the shot across the bow to Jasmine Crockett. That was to Jasmine Crockett. Yeah. And what y'all heard was an insult. Not it. Let's go to urban progressives. What that was intended to do. It was to frame her as branding over substance. Y'all say, oh, Dorothy, J.D. Vance didn't say all that. J.D. Vance didn't say but one thing. Ha, 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 ha. J.D. Vance laid out the strategy in one sentence. And I'm trying to help you to get it. Because it wasn't just for jokes. It wasn't just for laughs. It was a shot across the bow to her. And those who understand and a whole lot don't, because of the reaction that came afterwards, everybody was so upset. Everybody was so upset because, he disrespected her and all that kind of stuff. It's psychological. It plays on your mind without you even knowing it's playing on your mind, but it's playing on your mind. So when you go in there to vote, you will be thinking on these things. Oh, she's not that serious. Oh, she's not one of us. Oh, she's just cosplaying. She's really not black. Oh, she's this, that. She's all about appearance and all about that. That's what that came from. And you're going to hear it over and over and over and over, and you're going to hear it in different ways. But this is the game. But this is the plan. This is the plan. The urban progressives. Branding over substance. And if you read some of the articles that's out there on her, you will read that. She can't help because she got it like that. She just got it like that. But that's her brand. But the accusation is to frame her as branding over substance. Optics over policy. She really ain't that serious. She ain't that serious. She's about all of that. The star power. She's about all of that. Hollywood. She's about all of that. A character built for social media, not governance. The bottom line, when it comes to trying to crack the coalition with urban progressives, the accusation to frame her as branding over substance, star power. And I hope somebody tells her, Jasmine, Congresswoman Crockett, stop saying that. It's not about Hollywood. That ain't gonna play in Texas. They know that's not gonna play in Texas. Because why is that not gonna play in Texas? Because it frames her as branding over substance. Optics over policy. And what it comes down to is a character built for social media, not governance. Y'all just thought he said one thing. And that's what he's saying to the urban progressives. So we've talked about what he signaled and what they are going to signal to black voters. The black voters is to question her authenticity, to suggest that she's, performing and not really, rooted in blackness. Excuse me, she's cosplaying black, but not really being black. That's what he's saying with that. That kind of doubt, as I said, it does quiet damage. Quiet damage. Because it gets people to doubt and to question and to look at her differently. To say, she is cosplaying. She's really not one of us. She's just acting black. If you ever catch yourself thinking that, going forward in this, because that's what's going to be pounded in different ways, it's not going to be said that way. It's going to be said like he said it, in ways like that. But it's psychological. It ain't chess, ain't checkers. It's here. It's in your psyche. It's the things like Kamala Harris, the giggle. Like Sleepy Joe, all that. All they have to do is to crack, and remember I said this, you heard it here first, is to crack the coalition, not go after the voters, because the voters are solid. They have to crack the coalition, and the coalition is black voters, women, and urban progressives. And that kind of damage with black voters to hint, to say, she's really not one of y'all, she's just playing black. Quiet damage, just like with Kamala Harris. Them men went right in there and voted for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. Why? Because they didn't take her seriously. Why? Because the game worked. The game always works. And the Republicans know the game works. The Democrats just don't know the game works. But I'm telling y'all how the game works, okay? And I'm telling you what to look for. And I'm telling you what they're doing. And I'm telling you what J.D. Vance signaled. This is what they do. And I use Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of their own. That's what they do. And then the women, the language to trivialize her, to shift, like I say, to shift attention from her competence to her appearance. And if they can do that, they will do that. They will do that. See, Marjorie Taylor Greene learned it. She learned it from the Republican men. But then Jasmine Crockett came back on her. Remember she said, those fake eyelashes and all that kind of stuff? That's what they do, y'all. It is to delegitimize. That's what all that's about. Little did Marjorie Taylor Greene know that the gun would be turned. Ain't no fun with the rabbit got the gun. And she didn't know they gonna turn the same game on her. Same game. Because that's their game. That's what they do. That is what they do. And then the urban progressives. Because when progressives start questioning authenticity, guess what? Their energy drops. Their energy drops. So with the urban progressives and them, the accusation that frames her as branding over substance, optics over policy, and you watch what they're gonna do. Every picture that she's taken in Hollywood, on stage, with every movie star, every comedian, every person that's in Hollywood, they're gonna play that up. Watch. And why are they playing? Why are they going to do that? Because it is framing her as branding over substance and optics over policy. And this is to the urban progressives. That's to them. Because they know when progressives start questioning authenticity, they go home. They stay home. They're less energized. And when women are made to look unserious, without having to ever debate their record, that gets the women. The nails, the persona, like I said before. It shifts the attention away from competence to appearance. And then you know what women do? I'm going to tell you what we do. And that's what they count on women doing. Oh, she thinks she all that. She thinks she this. She thinks she that. Whenever women who are for Congresswoman Crockett and you start thinking that way, they have gotten to your psyche. That is exactly what they're trying to do with when they make these kinds of comments, when they shift it to her nails and her persona and her image. It is to trivialize her. Because, like I said, it shifts attention away from her competence to her appearance. And women always measure ourselves by how we look compared to other women. I'm just saying, it's part of the psyche. And that's what they want you to do, women, because you're part of her coalition. And they don't need but a few of you. And I'm going to show you the numbers in a minute. So that's it. That's the game. That's what he said. That's what he said when what he said is what he said. All of this, what I just told y'all, that's really what he was saying. And it is all purpose to delegitimize her, to crack her coalition with the urban professionals, with the Black women, and with the Black voters. The Black voters, the women, and urban progressives. And everything they say, everything they do, every comment that they make is going to be targeted to the ears and to the mind of one of these three, either the urban progressive, either the woman, or either the Black voter. And if you happen to be a Black voter and a woman and living in one of these urban areas, it's a 3 for 1 for them. It's a 3 for 1 for them. because all they need to do is peel away her coalition. That's all they need to do. And what J.D. Vance signaled is exactly what they are going to do. Why? Because I know what Republicans do. It is as old. It is as old as their playbook, and it is psychological. Democrats don't do that. Democrats will push ahead with policy. Democrats will push ahead with what I'm going to do for you and all these kinds, and that's good. That's good. But people don't vote policy. People vote feelings. They really do. They really do. And if they can change your feeling by changing your mind, that's what they're going to do. And that's what they're going to do. And I just told you how they're going to do it.